What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing well. We got, I guess you can say a re-review, but we got 3 Carrera GTs out here, and they are all pretty different. First one, we got the Royal Purple Carrera GT. So a few weeks back, the devs gave out Royal Purple packs, and I was able to unpack this one. And I was really excited because from what I heard, and if you don't know, Royal Purple cars do drive differently from their normal counterparts. So I was actually excited to have a Carrera GT that I actually like. And I'm happy to say that this car is a nice car to drive. And wow, that is some Porsche on Porsche action that is unwarranted for. Now, as you can see in this race, we are just getting crushed. We just simply don't have the power like the 2 dudes over there to just really fight with them. However, I am enjoying this drive. The way this car handles compared to how you'll see in the next 2 races, it is just so nice. It doesn't grip like a go-kart, however, it lets out a predictable slide that's very easy to control, and you will just not have any problems with having to overcorrect yourself when it comes to steering this thing. Now, where this thing will excel at, I'm not too sure. It definitely wouldn't exceed in a track like this where you really need a lot of top-end power. Maybe for something technical, not too technical, this thing would shine. However, it is such a great car to drive, and I'm so glad I got this one. Now we have the best version, you can say, ratings-wise, out of all the presets. So we have the Beauty Edition, which is another car that I got from a pre-pack from devs. As you can see already, we were in a straight line and I crashed. And that Versa actually came in clutch for me over there. But this is exactly what I'm talking about, this car, when it's in its normal form. It's just so bad. And I have made 2 videos with this car before, and all I ever talk about how horrible this car is. And shout out to the Beast. So I actually got the Beast as well, which is pretty ironic. Now, the Beast has gotten better in the Hennessy. However, this Carrera GT, even though it's fully upgraded, yeah, no. This thing, one, even fully upgraded, it's just too low of an overall to be competing with cars, especially like the Venom on this highway-based track. Now, in something a little more technical, maybe you might have a shot. When fully upgraded, this thing, oh man, I was about to say this thing's a little more controllable fully upgraded, but I digress. Yeah, this thing is still a handful. It does make for some entertaining moments like this, where it's like, oh, I don't have to really turn and brake normally. I can just slide about, and if I didn't hit that car, that would have been pretty cool, but obviously I have to mess that one up. As I was saying, yeah, this car is just not really it, and I thought the other part of the prison would be available for us to jump through. However, that is not the case whatsoever. This one's a handful. However, this next one I'm going to be showcasing is just not. This one is not it. What I'm talking about is this S1 Best in Class Carrera GT. It is not the best at anything. I'm kind of curious to see how this thing performs in A-Class compared to the Royal Purple that I have in A-Class. However, I just don't think it's really worth my time to even try, honestly, just because the fact that the Royal Purple is just so much better of a car, and this car at S1 is in such a bad position because you literally cannot control this car at all. When it's fully spec'd out, it actually grips a lot better, even though it's very slidey. And I imagine it being slower in A, it wouldn't be too bad, but this is such a weird medium where this car is just not that fast, it's way too slidey, and it's so frustrating. Like, look at this. We are on the same track as last time, except this is the S1 version versus the S2, and you'll see at the end, it's kind of weird how they had that little variation. I'm surprised I'm even doing this well against a Zonda R, because that car grips, at least from what I've seen. A Zonda R is actually a car I gotta try, because I've never tried the Zonda R at all these years. As I was mentioning, yeah, this car is just, no, man. Do not buy this car. I know it's a Carrera GT, but don't be fooled. Try getting the Royal Purple Edition. Anyways, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. Peace.